Okay, so this next video lecture is about our module number 7. So this is entitled Accounting for Materials. So we will be discussing about the objectives of materials, control, methods of costing materials, accounting for defective and spoiled units. Okay, so to start with, let us discuss about the objectives of materials costing. So basically, the major objective of cost accounting is of course to control the cost. So the elements of our cost should be effectively controlled. And a material control system should also ensure that the required quantity of the materials as well as the required quality at the right time and at the right place with minimum cost or investment should be achieved. An efficient material control can improve the input-output ratio or efficient production, okay, that will yield greater benefit or profit on the part of the entity. So it is an effective integration, therefore, of the various aspects which will include scheduling of the requirements, purchasing, receiving and inspection, maintaining stock records, and stock control. So material control is accomplished through the use of periodical reports and records relating to purchasing, receiving, inspection, and the issuance of materials. So this is also effected by the establishment of a functional organization and fixation of responsibilities using standard forms of accounting records and reports. So this is how objectives of material costing will be achieved. Okay, so in addition, the objectives of materials control is to ensure the supply of adequate quantity of materials. So this is of course to avoid stock out, to avoid delay, and also to avoid loss on the part of the entity for their sales, okay, to their customers. Second objective is of course optimum investment, meaning keeping the amount invested in materials should be under control, meaning just like what we have mentioned earlier, the cost or the capital should be minimized, but at the same time it should not sacrifice the quality of the materials that the entity is purchasing. Okay, another is favorable terms of purchase. So of course, purchase price and other terms should be of maximum advantage to the firm. Meaning if the entity or the firm is able to avail of the discounts, okay, and other privileges for purchase agreements or terms, then they should avail that, okay, if that is possible. Fourth is control of wastage. Of course, we know that waste or spoilage are losses. Okay, so it should be avoided to minimize the cost. Fifth, is the control of obsolescence and spoilage. So this is the same with the number 4. Okay, so loss due to materials becoming out of date or spoiled and unusable is a major cause for losses. Number 6 is proper reporting to management. So management has to be informed frequently about the stock of raw materials so that production is planned and will go according to the schedule. Okay. Number 7, prevention of misappropriation of materials. So of course this is to avoid fraud, okay, on the part of the employees and other members of the entity. Number 8 is proper control of system for settlement of invoices. So this is very important because it has to be paid only, okay, after verifying the physical receipt of the correct materials to avoid excess payment to the suppliers. Okay, so what are the essentials of material control? So the process of material control is divided into 4 stages. So we have the purchase control, stores control, issue control, and control of material losses. Okay, so basically we have to include here coordination, meaning the entity should have an effective control of material because it requires effective coordination among the department involved in purchasing. So they are the receiving, inspection, storage, production, sales, and accounting departments. So that the adequate materials are available for continuous production and sales. Next is centralized purchasing, meaning in order to economize the buying and to avoid also losses or excess buying of raw materials, or the purchasing function is to be centralized, okay, to monitor the purchase of raw materials. Third, proper scheduling, of course, of materials requirements. That this is to ensure the availability of materials at the right time. So, classification and codification of material. So, this will lead to easy identification and proper control of materials to be used and issued. Fifth, receipt of material. So, there should be checking and inspection of material. This is done by the receiving department to ensure correct quantity and quality of material as ordered. Next is using forms. Okay, so standard forms should be designed and used for purchase requisition, order, receiving, requisition of materials, as well as transfers of materials from the store to the other department or jobs. Number 7, of course, is for the storage of materials. So, material should be entrusted to a qualified storekeeper. This is to plan effective storage and also to avoid losses due to obsolescence, pilferages, and theft. Okay, so this is to make sure that everything is organized and what is being ordered are used in production to avoid excess or obsolescence in the long run. Number 8 is the issue of materials. So, a good method of issuance of materials to various jobs, processes, and orders should be advised to ensure that delivery of right material at the right time and the right quantity and quality for smooth flow of production. Okay, number 9, stock taking. In perpetual inventory, they should follow stock taking for stock verification. The purpose of this is to reveal differences in stock due to pilferage, theft, and wastage. Meaning to say, if there is a difference between the recorded amount of inventory and the actual physical inventory in the store will be noted. Okay. Moreover, perpetual inventory system avoids also closing down a factory for stock verification and valuation. Number 10, levels of stocks. So, the level of stock are to be maintained, okay, and also to form most especially the reorder level to make sure that the entity will order at the right time. Maximum level also and minimum level to avoid shortage or overstocking. Number 11 is EOQ or economic order quantity. So, economic order quantity is to be operated for each type of materials. So, the main purpose of EOQ is to optimize the cost of buying and storage. This will give us, or the entity, the lowest cost of buying and storing the ordered inventory. Number 12, pricing issues. So, of course, a suitable method of pricing is to be followed. Okay, for correct valuation of materials, cost of jobs, orders, process, and also valuation of the ending inventories. Number 13, control of materials during the production process. So, a proper accounting and records should be maintained to avoid waste of materials during the consumption. So, this is to monitor how materials are consumed in the production. Number 14, suitable reporting system should be established. So this will help management to take decisions related to investment in materials and avoid obsolete, dormant, and slow-moving materials to avoid also losses on the part of the entity. So what are the role and function of each departments? In fact, we have mentioned the different departments as we discussed about the essentials and the objectives, okay, of cost control, or materials control earlier. So here we will be discussing the specific roles and function of each departments. For the purchasing department, so they will be the one who is responsible to make purchase, okay, of the required quantity of the items or materials at the right time and to make sure that it is in good quality. and at the most economical price. So we have here the following functions for purchasing department. They will receive the purchase requisition from the different departments who needs the item. Number 2, they will invite quotations from different suppliers. So they will go through bidding to deliver materials as per the specification in the purchase requisitions. Number 3, they will prepare a comparative statement of quotations from the different suppliers. Number 4, they will select a supplier from the comparative statement. The one who will be selected is the supplier who offers the most favorable terms with due regard to quality. Number 5, they will draft purchase order and send to the selected supplier. 6, they will follow up the purchase order to receive the materials at the specified time. 7, they will check various documents and certify that materials of requisite quantity and quality are received, meaning what was requested are what was received from the supplier. And number 8, passing purchase invoice for payment if everything is in order. So these are the functions of our purchasing department, and it should be centralized, again, to avoid non-existent request for materials purchase and fraud or error as well. Okay, what about for receiving and inspection department? So this department will examine the quality of raw materials and ensure that sufficient quantity of materials as per purchase order are received from the supplier. So the functions are, they will receive the materials from different suppliers through different modes of transport, and they will acknowledge the receipt of the ordered items. Second, they will prepare goods received note by filling up the details of quantity, grade, and other information about the materials by count, weight, and others. Third, they will inspect the materials to check the quality, other specifications, and they will send the materials received to stores and other departments. Number 5, they will communicate to the purchasing department and accounts department about the materials received and inform them of any damage or shortages. Actually, to avoid fraud and error, the receiving and inspection department should fill out a blank receiving form, meaning they will count, or this will force them to count and to check what was actually received from the supplier and not just to confirm what was ordered. So this is to control the receipt of the materials, if that indeed is what was ordered. Okay, so this is very important in control as well. Okay, for storekeeping department, so the main function is to initiate purchase requisition, because in the store they are the ones who are keeping the inventory. So they will know if the inventories are at the reorder point or they are out of stock. Okay, so they will initiate the purchase requisition, meaning normally they are the one who is preparing the purchase requisition form. Okay. Number 2, they will maintain level of stock, receipt of materials from receiving and inspection department, okay, when the ordered items was received. Fourth, they will check the materials received by comparing the purchase requisition and the items that was received, and they will place them in the proper bins, okay, for stocking. Number 5, they will issue materials on receipt of materials requisition from the different department, and they will maintain store records like bin cards. So this is like an inventory stock card, okay, that will identify how much was received, how much was issued, and the balance. So they will enter the receipt, issue, and balance of materials. Number 7, they will send periodical reports to the management regarding the slow-moving, dormant, and obsolete materials to enable them to make suitable decisions and avoid losses. So this is the function of our storekeeping department. For the production department, of course, they play a very crucial role in optimum utilization of our raw materials to reduce material losses. So they will be performing the following functions. First, they will initiate requisition also for raw materials, okay, to be used in production. So the required quantity and quality at the right time to carry out with a smooth flow of production to avoid delays. Number 2, they will verify raw materials received from the stores if that is correct. Number 3, maintain proper records of materials charged to different jobs, process, and operations for accounting purposes and control as well. Number 4, to prepare proper notes for any returned materials, transfer of materials from one job or department to another. Okay, so this is to keep track of the production flow. Number 5, they will prepare proper records regarding work in process, scrap, wastage, spoilage, and defectives, and send these reports to management for analysis and, of course, for control to minimize losses. For stock control department, so basically this can be attached to cost accounting department. Okay, so the storekeeping department has the following function. Okay, so number 1 is to maintain the perpetual stock record. So stock control meaning they will they will be keeping in touch with the storekeeper as well. Okay, to maintain appropriate level of stock to avoid stock out or overstock. Okay, another is to make suitable adjustment of stock based on the receipt of authorized notes, and as well as to ascertain the average consumption of raw materials in terms of quantity and value. So in this case, aside from working with the storeroom, it's also like the function, okay, of the cost accounting department, because here they will actually ascertain the consumption. So this is through the use of the cost accounting reports, okay, as well, to identify these items. For cost of materials cost, okay, so those are the different departments. Okay, so aside from that, cost or accounting department also plays a vital role because they are the ones who are record keeping transactions that goes along with all of the different departments transactions. Okay, so control of materials cost. So how does the entity will control materials cost? So this will require the following. First, they should have to estimate the material cost, both in total and per unit. So this requires engineering, planning, and routing. So the products will be designed and manufactured should be carefully planned, and the materials requirements in terms of quantity and quality should be determined based on the product design and specifications at each stage of the manufacturing process. So this is very important. Okay, number 2, there should be a production budget. So this is like a plan. So it will show the budgeted production volumes in monthly or quarterly periods based on which budget materials usage is computed. So this will be used as guide in timing materials procurement and to estimate the cost involved in the desired inventory level of materials. So this is planning ahead, okay, for production. Number 3, purchase requisition, or in terms of purchase requisition, it informs the purchasing agent or department that materials as indicated therein are needed, okay, by the issuing party. Next is purchase order. So this is issued to suppliers. So this is the part of the purchasing department, again as mentioned earlier, as part of their function. So this will state the specification, quantities, and unit prices for the different items being purchased and the desired delivery date. Next is the receiving report. So this is on the part of the receiving and inspection department. So it will identify the quantity of items received and they will state the result of inspection and of the quality tests performed. Next is materials requisition. So here, this will notify the storeroom or the warehouse that materials specified in the form are needed in the production. Okay. So next is materials ledger cards. So basically these are the perpetual inventory records for our materials, which shows the receipts and issuances for each class of materials and its resulting balances. So the card is maintained for each item of our material inventory. Returned materials. So this will show the materials previously issued and are being returned to the storeroom. Probably what was requested was more than what was needed in the production. That's why it should be returned. Next, scrap report is very important as well. So because this will show the quantity of scrap materials removed from the factory. So these are considered to be losses already. But it can be sold later on a lower market price or selling price. Okay, just to recover the cost of the material or the inventory. Next, return shipping order. So this will show the materials returned or being returned to the suppliers, okay, in the case of wrong item or damaged item. So in some entities, they also use delivery receipt, a form used to evidence that goods are brought out from the company compound. Okay, so those are for the objectives of our materials cost.